We're taking on the Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo this week as I interview Trent Palmer and his new Legend Nomad, the Starlight Drone Company and their beautiful drone show, and Luke Aikins in the skydiving Red Bull plane. Stay tuned until the end for a special offer from Dean Siracusa and Flying Eyes Sunglasses. All right, you guys, well, I'm here at the Legend aircraft booth, the American Legend Company aircraft booth, and I ran into, guess who it is, Trent Palmer. Now, you can see it from a mile away, the Legend Nomad. It's a beautiful airplane. So tell me a little bit about like the process of you guys designing this airplane. I'm pretty sure you did the owner builder assist program, right?
I did, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so for anyone that's not aware of what the Nomad is, it's the Rotax 916 powered Legend. And there's been a few other changes through the fuselage. They went back to only a single door, whereas the traditional MOAC and the AL-18s and AL-3s have dual doors for float plane use. Went to a single door on this, kind of lightened things up a little bit. We changed the wing a bit, added a leading edge extension that's like a cuff, as well as a trailing edge extension just to kind of keep the CG in the same envelope, keep the center of pressure in the same place.
Gotcha.
So we added some wing area, and then obviously the big part is the Rotax 916, so entire new firewall forward and constant speed hydraulic prop.
Yeah, I noticed that prop. You can get some bends on the end of it.
Yeah.
Well, have you noticed like a significant performance difference with the prop alone?
Well, we've only flown them with
that
the
prop.
Kato prop, yeah. And
Okay.
I've previously flown a bunch of different props on the Rotax platform, and the Kato definitely seems to hit the best marks of efficiency and performance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, and I noticed, I think Darren does this with a lot of his airplanes. He puts float attachments. I think you've got the float attachments on this.
I do,
one.
yep.
So if you ever wanted to, you could.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I guess if I wanted to get off the left float, I'd just have to walk across the wire.
Yep. Well, what are your plans with the airplane? Are you creating more content with it? Or?
Yeah. So the whole thing, I built it as an adventure machine. That's my favorite stuff to do is backcountry trips, camping trips, and all that. Go and fly fishing. So this one can carry more weight. It's all equipped for cameras too, so a lot of content stuff. Once I get it home.
About that specifically, I noticed your mounts. Those are really cool. So you've got your Insta360 extendable pole on that side for those really wide angle shots, and then you've got one over here too. I guess it's for a GoPro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or just any action camera. I run the Insta360s just because I'm able to charge while recording, where I couldn't on a GoPro.
Gotcha.
And the way I have everything set up, I have power at every camera point, and they're all on a switch. So when I flip the switch on, the cameras turn on and start recording, and then when I flip the switch off, they stop recording and power off.
Are they time synced?
Pretty close. All of those cameras do have time code in them, so I can jam time code.
Gotcha.
So the start point is normally within a second or two of each other, but then I've got time code to fall back on.
Nice.
That's some nerdy stuff for people that don't do
I was curious. As you guys know, I've only been doing this a short time, and so as I learn more and more about cameras and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But well, so if somebody wants to buy a Legend Nomad, they want one just like Trent Palmer's, where can they go to? Can they do that? And where can they go to do it?
Yeah, go talk to the guys at Legend. You do the factory build assist. It's an awesome experience because you get to see how the entire thing goes together and be hands-on, and it is very hands-on.
Yeah.
It can be, as much as you want it to be, as long as you hit the minimums. But it's not like some of the other manufacturers. You kind of just show up and push buttons and don't do anything.
Absolutely.
You get to be very hands-on, and it's way more gratifying.
And that's what I've always loved about Legend. I used to do a little bit of restoration work for these guys, and they're a clean operation. They make a beautiful product, and if you want to be involved, you can.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you met Ron and all of them over at the paint shop. Those guys do such a nice job.
Their whole team, they're all A-list. They're the nicest people ever, and I think they're building the best experimental Cub.
100%.
One of the best experimental planes out there, too.
And one more question. What's your useful load?
About 900 pounds.
Yeah, that's so impressive. That's like top tier.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, I won't take up any more of your time because I know you're a busy guy, so thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you out there flying it.
Sounds good.
All right.
After getting to know the new Legend Nomad with Trent, I walked on over to a very recognizable airplane. You've probably seen Jeff's Ryan STL kit from Timber Tiger Aircraft. Jeff makes some beautiful cinematic footage in this airplane that's really hard to ignore if you love Golden Age aviation. Jeff's videos and his beautiful Ryan were a huge source of inspiration to me for not only this channel, but for future endeavors as well. You can find Jeff on his Instagram at the handle below, and you can also stay tuned for an exclusive Hangar Bums podcast interview where we talk to Jeff about his airplane and how he got into flying.
Hi guys, so we wandered here into the Performer hangar with Starlight Drone Productions, and I'm here with Bree, and behind us That's 600 drones.
500.
500. I thought
Yes.
it was 600. Okay,
No, 500.
500 drones. That's still an impressive number.
Yep.
So your guys' night show last night was nothing short of amazing.
Thank you.
What kind of effort goes into that scale of production?
Oh, weeks and weeks of planning, coordination between the different teams that we're working with, and tons of coordination with the other teams that we're working with, from pyro to the explosions to the pilots that are flying with us.
I had one question when I was watching the show last night. How do your drones not get like singed from the fire bombs?
So when we operate the drones, we are in our own specific box, and
Okay.
the other teams are in their own box, and everybody just works really hard to not overlap. And from the audience view, that all
It all
just kind
looks
of
like
blends together.
One
Yep.
big screen. It was so neat last night.
Thank
So
you.
what's your specific role in this production?
So I am a pilot, I am a visual observer, I am also our marketing director.
Gotcha. Now last night during the show, they also said there was about 100 people involved, like flying the drones. Just
No.
flying them.
We
No,
had-
did I get that wrong?
No, well, so we usually have one VO for every 100 drones,
Okay.
and then we have a pilot who operates.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, this is so neat. So how long have you been operating, and where did this idea come from?
So he's been in business since 2017, and it just kind of came to him one evening.
1 second. I don't know why I scheduled it during jet hour. I'm so sorry.
I totally, honestly, like, we're so used to it that it's
Yeah,
just kind of background
it's
noise.
background, yeah.
But yeah, so 2017, he started the company, and it just kept growing from there.
Kept going from there. What program do you use to keep? Because like that's what it is, right? They're all synced up to the same like.
Yes,
How does it
so
work?
our designers work in Blender, and it allows them to ensure the spacing between each of the drones, and then we also use a DSS software that allows us to fly and handle those parameters.
Okay, so is that like I'm not a software person. So is that like the drone specific software that controls them
So-
specifically, or?
DSS stands for Drone Show Software, and it's specifically meant for flying. And then
Okay.
Blender is technically a 3D modeling program, and that's what allows our designers to make all the shapes that you see.
So what keeps you guys from using like 2,000 drones versus 500?
Just financing, being able to
Okay.
get that far
Yeah,
ahead.
is that like a lot of programming and scale to
Yeah.
work with?
It is.
Well, and you can tell what the picture is anyways without them. But I
Yes.
mean, it's already a very amazing show. But what are your plans for the future?
Ooh, just keep bringing the bigger and better show and pushing the limits of what we have going
Awesome.
on.
Well, I guess you guys are gonna be at Oshkosh, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we can't wait to see you at Oshkosh. And thank you so much, Bree, for your time. And
Absolutely.
oh, hold on. Let's try that again. And telling me all about this drone show. It's really neat. And for everybody interested, I think by the time I get posting this, Sun and Fun will be over. So you guys can go back and watch that footage. Thanks, Bree.
Absolutely.
While I was in the performer's hangar, I stumbled upon this. Recognize it? This is Red Bull's Skydiving 182, and I got to meet the pilot.
All right, you guys. Well, I can't believe what I stumbled into while I've been here reporting for Flying Doodles at Sun and Fun. I found Luke Aikins, the guy who flies the Red Bull airplane. And you guys just did some really cool stuff recently. So tell me a little bit about what y'all been up to.
Yeah, so I'm mainly skydive for Red Bull, right? I have over 20,000 jumps with Red Bull Skydiver, but I grew up as a pilot. I grew up on a private airport, grew up flying since I was 16, and so always wanted to tie flying into skydiving, right? Skydiving's my passion, flying's my passion, I wanted to bring them together. So we designed this plane, we took a Cessna 182 and we made it, modified it, added this giant speed brake to it, so we could fly the airplane with skydivers. So we can fly this airplane with wingsuiters and with vertical skydiving.
And some of the shots that you've captured from that, I mean, they're
Pretty cool.
absolutely legendary.
The last thing we just did with this plane is we flew in the Grand Canyon. I had permission, we flew in the Grand Canyon, so I flew the plane in a wingsuit position, diving down at the ground. We had Max underneath there. He jumped from a helicopter, and he wingsuited below the rim of the canyon on his back. I had a big pole underneath there, and then he hooked on. I pulled up the brake, and I climbed and flew out of the canyon, and then he jumped and landed on the top.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think I actually saw that. That came out in a video recently.
Yeah,
didn't
it was just
I think I
recently.
saw that. That was so
That
cool.
was the last thing we did with it. We're
That's
trying
so
to use
cool.
it doing all the things we
Where do
can.
you come up with these ideas?
You know,
Is it just like having beers with the boys and you're like, hey, we should try to do this? Or
it sounds funny, but yeah, that's where a lot of the great
Yeah.
ideas, and a lot of the ideas come from, oh, you could never do this, and then we start thinking, well, how could you do it?
Yeah.
Like when I jumped out of a plane without a parachute, landed in a net,
Yeah.
right, on live TV. That one was, I said no. They asked me, hey, would you do this? I said no, and I started thinking about, could you do it? How could you do it? Can you do it safely?
Yeah.
And then here we are.
wow, that's insane. Well, so one thing because I kind of met you just a second ago,
Yeah.
and I didn't realize who you were until after. But I saw you doing some pyro stuff. How involved are you in the this build, this speed brake? I mean, did you design this?
So this system came from an idea of Paulo Escold.
Okay.
He's a aerodynamic professor at Cal Poly. I said, hey, I want to do this. Is this possible? And he said, sure, we need to do it like this. So Paulo and I, he designed it, he built it, I did all the test flying, all the dives with it. I have over 5.8 hours in a vertical dive in a Cessna 182.
Holy crap.
We've been training for all these projects. So
Yeah.
it was really cool working hand in hand and learning how to do test flights and a whole test flight program and all the testing. And now what we do is we're adding it. We're leveling up like we always do at Red Bull. So now we're adding pyro to this thing. We're shooting 20 mortars off each side. So we'll
Oh
have
my
40
gosh.
mortars shooting. We're gonna have pyro on the wingtips, some sparklers on the wingtips. The wingsuiter's gonna jump out of a twin otter right behind me. I'm gonna put it into a dive. The wingsuits are gonna form up with me, and then I'm gonna initiate fire, and it's gonna start shooting fireworks
Wow.
off as the wingsuits fly through the fireworks.
That's so badass.
Super
I
excited. We're
can't wait to
debuting
see
it at Sun and Fun
Yeah, so this happening tonight?
tonight.
Oh my
Wednesday
gosh.
and Saturday
Oh
night.
man, this is gonna post a couple weeks in advance, but people will be able to go back and watch that. So I'm so excited to see it, and that's amazing.
It's
well, thank you
awesome.
so much for your
You
time.
bet.
Where are you based out of?
So I live up in Seattle, Washington, but
Okay.
we're all over the place, you know. I just was skydiving at the Barksdale Air Show last weekend, and then this is my first show flying in an air show. So I had to get my SAC card, aerobatic,
Oh, yeah.
formation. I had to get all that stuff. So
Awesome.
jump through all the hoops, and here we are.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Luke, for putting up with me. After hanging out at the Performers Hangar, I headed on over to see a good friend of mine.
All right, well, I had to stumble in here to Flying Eyes because, as you guys know, I wear Flying Eyes. Hey, don't turn around. We need to talk about this, by the way. Don't turn around in the slipstream because I lost these out the biplane. There was one time I called Dean and I'm like, Dean, I need another pair of these because I was on a ferry and I had my helmet on and I turned around and they just went whoop.
Yeah.
They went whoop.
Yep.
But, I mean, they make the experience so much more comfortable.
So one thing we do actually have that I may have forgotten to mention is we have loss protection.
Yeah,
So
that's
you can
right.
pay a little bit more, and if you lose them, break them, whatever, in the first 2 years, we'll replace them.
I've already stepped on these suckers like twice and they're still kicking. They're still going.
Yeah, they're very good. It's what our glasses. When you put them on under a helmet or headset, you don't feel them, but you also can't break them. All the material, the frames and the temples are the same material. It's part of my patent.
Yeah, absolutely. So where did this start? I mean, what's your history?
I've been a pilot for more than 30 years now, and I was tired of I used to fly 200 hours a year as a commercial director, traveling to Moab, Utah, and pretty locations. And I was tired of that pain and noise leak under my headset.
Yeah.
And decided to do something about it. I started the company in 2013, so it's going on 12 years now. And we've just been growing ever since. We started with one frame shape just to validate. I needed frames for myself, but I realized as we grew that everybody has a different preference to shape, but also everybody has a different size head, shape head, eyes, nose, everything. And so we need lots of different variety of glasses, frame finishes, temples, lengths, and even lens options for people, for whatever they need.
Yeah.
We sell prescription glasses.
That's the kicker. Because like when my dad's eyes started going,
Yep.
he's like, he was wearing readers
Yeah.
and sunglasses. And I'm
Right.
like, that's silly.
Right.
Get Flying Eyes.
Well,
That's the thing to do.
And to that point, for somebody that might, like me, that might be over 40, there's a thing called presbyopia, where you can't actually focus near vision as well as you used to. And so in order to see the C4 flight, your iPad, or the instrument panel, you need readers. And we actually sell non-prescription readers in all of our glasses. So tinted or clear. And so you can see the panel.
Awesome. Very cool.
And then we do full prescription as well.
Gotcha. You guys should really need to go check that out. So for Sun and Fun and for the next couple months, I've actually got an affiliate code with
Yes,
Flying
you do.
Eyes.
Yes,
and
you do.
so that code is Emma Flies Planes. I'm going to put it here in the description. You guys need to go check that out and order. I've already had a couple orders now. I think
Awesome.
people are really enjoying it. So
Excellent.
check out that code. Get you a set of Flying Eyes. And yeah, Dean, thank you so much.
Thanks for stopping by.
I
really
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Flying Doodles. I had a blast at Sun and Fun this year, and while this episode was kind of focused on the interview side of things and just kind of walking around, here in a couple weeks we'll be releasing some more flying footage. This is part 1 of 2, and next week we'll release the rest of our interviews at Sun and Fun. See you next time.